One, we're live. How you doing, David?
I'm good. How are you, Nick?
Good, man. Thanks for hopping on a Tuesday afternoon here. Little sun out here in Chicago. Spring's coming, right?
Oh, I love it. Opening day on Thursday. I can't wait.
Yeah. Really appreciated going to that game a couple months ago with you. Are you a lifelong Cubs fan?
Yeah, I am. Born and raised northwest suburbs of Chicago. Went to college, came back, and lived in the city for the last decade and a half. And I also have Cubs season tickets, so there's going to be lots of half day Fridays over the summer. That's for sure. Heading up to 120 games.
Yeah, I always tell people my favorite game is always the 110 opening pitch on a Friday or like a Thursday. Kind of hopping out early, hoping to have no meetings in the afternoon. And there's just really nothing like the sun beaming down on you in Chicago in the summer, you know?
Oh, it's the best, especially when you get a good. It's 120, by the way, Nick. You got to get that right. But
Ah.
but no, it's the best when you can kind of get some good work done, click off, and maybe even take a client or a prospect or a partner with you as well, and just enjoy Chicago as part of a big reason why we all live here, right? To be able to enjoy the things that we like, and yeah, it's awesome. So
Yeah. I know
I'm
you
looking
and I
forward
are
to it.
both in sales, and there's a certain level of work ethic. It comes from opening your computer and getting the work done, but just face to face, I've always loved that, and I know you do too. It's this is a podcast about personal development and motivation and work ethic. So I wanted to get you on specifically. I always saw you as a total killer in that area, and just kind of learn what works for you, and hopefully share that with some people, and hopefully they find some value in it. Cool.
Cool.
Awesome, dude. So let's not make this too much like LinkedIn, right? But you work for Insperity. It's an HR platform, right? You basically sell to business owners and talk to them about the value of what you sell, right?
Yeah, pretty straightforward. So Insperity stands for Inspiring Prosperity. We're one of the pioneers of the HR outsourcing industry, founded in 1986. And the idea was pretty simple. Your people strategy drives the success of the company. And, it was a situation where our co-founder and chairman, Paul Sarvati, felt like, hey, everyone's focusing, and rightly so, on sales, finance, operations, and technology, but what gets left behind is the human capital aspect of it. And especially as you start adding employees, things can easily go by the wayside. Putting together employee handbooks, job descriptions, making sure that you're buttoned up.
Yeah.
So he developed an HR outsourcing company in Insperity. We sell to small to medium sized companies that are looking for that infrastructure. They're looking for to establish an HR strategy, to have the ability to offer big company benefits for their folks, to be able to attract and retain high end talent. And a big part of what I do is meeting with business owners wherever they might be, and um, and it's something that I really truly enjoy doing as well.
Yeah, I see you out there, and I think that's one thing you can't fake. If you like what you're doing and you like what you're offering to the market, it comes across really obviously. When I talk to you, what I'm always struck by is you say, "Yeah, I got out this many proposals this week or this month, or I just gave a proposal yesterday." And you're talking to me about which ones you think might come in. But I think that's a really important process for any salesperson is like you can pitch or demo or go out to coffee, but really how many times are you putting paper in front of someone with a dotted line to sign, right? And it takes time to get there. But any
Yes,
good salesperson is like you're taking at bats, you know, and just
that's
wanted to say that
exactly.
and validate you for that. It's all about the proposal stage, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I would echo that. I mean, every good salesperson should know your metrics, right? How many meetings do you have to get to get to a deal, and what's in between that, right? So how many of those turn into a proposal, demo, whatever. Know your metrics, and then that start of the funnel. It's also just knowing your ideal client. Insperity is not for everyone. Our differentiator is we're a premier offering, which means we're more expensive than most. But what we charge and what we cost are two different things. So it's really about what people are looking for, and you got to find your opportunities out there. And these days, um, I think it's a lot different, especially when it depends on what you're selling, but I think it's a lot different than it was even 5, 10 years ago in terms
Sure.
of picking up the phone and cold calling. And because of the social media, because of what LinkedIn is now, and it's only going to get even bigger. But like
Yeah.
LinkedIn 5, 10 years ago, you would just go on there to maybe see if you were looking for people that you could hire, right? Um, and maybe utilizing them in conjunction with your recruiters. But now, like, people are so far along their ideal of who they want, because a lot of companies already are outsourcing HR. They're doing something for HR, right? It's not like they just thought of that, but I think that people are just a lot of business owners and C-level executives are already further down the line in terms of their buying like process, right? Because they've got the internet, they might know a person that works at the company, they might have seen them on social media, and so by the time you get to them, 70% of their decision is already made, right? And so what I've found is it's relationships that carry the distance and carry people over the finish line to be able to be a true advisor, to be a true partner, to be a true seller, and not be a transactional type of person. And I get it. It depends on your product or service that you sell, but people are already further down the line. So a lot of companies that I talk to and business owners, I'm just initially trying to establish a relationship with them by learning about them, their company, their interests. What do they do it for? They got a family, they want to do vacations, they want to go to Cubs games, Hawks games, and maybe take them out, get to know them a little bit, establish that relationship. Doesn't mean you have to be best friends with everybody, right? But it's and what are some other ways that you can help them out? Like maybe somebody that's in, I just met an owner the other day, that's looking to looking to find more companies that are kind of on the up and up, selling an outsourced IT infrastructure and managed service provider, pretty similar, almost like a similar conversation that Insperity has, but more on the technology side versus the people side. So, that's what I think it's about, honestly, Nick, is like that. And that's what I get joy out of, is like
Yeah.
being able to connect a client to a new client for them is maybe even more rewarding than me selling them myself and bringing them on as an Insperity client. Because I want them to succeed, they succeed, I succeed, right? So it's a mutually beneficial relationship in its true sense, and I'm not doing it selfishly. I'm doing it selfishly, maybe for the both of us, sure, but I think that's what it's about.
Yeah. A couple of things came to mind there. I think about what's happened the last 2 or 3 years, and even 5 years ago, I used to send out 100 emails and I would get maybe five responses for a meeting. And then I would actually set three meetings, and then one would turn into an op. And on that and that kind of numbering, it makes sense still to send out those 100 emails, but you have to be much more relationship focused nowadays. Or what I found is even have a referral to get into some of these companies, because people are just so saturated with salespeople. You know what I mean? Especially after COVID, what I find is that it's just really, really hard to get intro meetings. And I think that in-person thing is so important to add the face to a name and to continue to build the relationship. And as the relationships evolve between a salesperson and a buyer, you do get the chance to build that trusted advisor kind of view of yourself. And you can't fake that. You have to know your stuff. You have to know the industry. People like founders of companies, business owners, they're focused on building their business, right? You
Exactly.
as David, you need to be the one knowledgeable about people management, payroll, HR, all those things. And if you can save them time and effort, that's why they're paying you. So that's the first thing. The second thing I was thinking about was just the nature of in-person networking. um when you build trust with someone, there's a vulnerability there, and you stop becoming kind of like a name across the screen. You become a person. Oh, this is David, he likes the Cubs, he has family in Chicago, and people start to open up to you, so that they start to tell you about their business, which gives you more anchors to sell on. So just a couple of thoughts there.
Yeah, those are some great thoughts. I mean, up front too, one thing I would address is you still got a cold call, and like you
Yeah.
said, like you got to do it, right? I
Mhm.
mean, you just because you might hit one. Um, it's just absolutely necessary. So as a salesperson, you still want to do those things, but if there's an opportunity to get introduced, if there's a leg up, maybe there's a an event that you think that would be beneficial for that person. Um, invite them to an event
Mhm.
versus inviting them into a sales meeting. Um, and then the second part of what you said was in getting in person. I view it as like when you're out and about, like try to get a sense of who they are and like why they're there and what they're trying to accomplish. Like ask questions, in more like more directed professional level questions. Like, but it could be pretty simple as far as like what brings you out to ABC networking group tonight.
Yeah.
They're what are you trying to accomplish? And not just. I think sometimes people can get too surface area where it's like, hey, you have where are you from, where you go to school, blah blah blah. Like,
Mhm.
no, I mean you can get to that, but like, what brings you out here? What are you trying to accomplish? Like, we all want to get home too at some point and have dinner and go
Yeah.
back to whatever you got going on at home. Maybe watch a Netflix show or something before you go to bed, or read a book. But I think that connection is important. Um, and it's also gotta, just like what you said too, like it's got to be that mix where you have those intros via email, LinkedIn. Hey, Nick knows Bob. I'd love to connect with Bob. Maybe Nick knows him well enough to feel comfortable enough to make the introduction for me. I'm doing my cold calls. I'm doing my cold emails. Maybe I drop to a company here or there. But I think it's also important in today's world. Like, there's a lot of Zoom stuff going on, right? And you have to do it. Look at what we're doing right now. We're both a little bit busy today. If we try to make this work in person, I don't know if it would have fit. A lot of companies that I meet with, most of them, quite frankly, I'm gonna want to do a Zoom meeting up front, just because I want to make sure it's worth their time and mine. That like this is even something that we want to have a conversation with. And sometimes these meetings are 5 minutes long. Well, that beats a whole heck of a lot driving 30 minutes to an hour to one location and blowing half a day for one meeting that's not going anywhere. So you want to have that mix of virtual and Zoom in the virtual world, which certainly that's the silver lining of COVID is you're able to get a lot more done in your day. But nothing beats that in person, that eye to eye, getting a feel for the type of person that they are, and figuring out, is there alignment there? Is there synergy? Is there a way to collaborate? And if not, maybe there's somebody that I might know that might be good for you. Or quite frankly, maybe we're just not going to talk to each other again. Like, it just doesn't work, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah.
We're all human beings, so we're all not meant to work together, right?
Yeah. I actually look at the 5 minute, hey, there's not a fit here, move on as a win because you only spent 5 minutes and you assess that quickly instead of maybe having the person drag their feet or kick the tires, that kind of thing. An experience I had talking about what you said about kind of the middle between surface level. Okay, what what brings you out is a great question. Maybe not what do you like to do outside of work to start it's like that doesn't give you anything in a networking event, but also not, hey, can I tell you about my financial advisor services? Like that's too much. you know
Yeah,
um an example I had was I took a coffee meeting with a financial advisor because we were just talking kind of a broad level about sports and the tech industry and things like that. And when we got coffee, he tried to close me in one meeting, and it's like,
yeah,
I wish I would have done a 5 minute meeting because I'm good in that area. I already have someone. I don't
yeah,
plan to move from that person. Really, nothing could make me move from that person at this stage of my life. And it wasn't a waste of time because, I got to know the person a little better, but it certainly was a professional waste of time because he could have spent that time with someone else. And at the end of the meeting, I just kind of felt slimy. Like nothing is worse than when a salesperson tries to close you too early and it's like, geez, like I don't trust this person. They don't even actually know my needs. They didn't actually verify that I'm someone that wants to talk, that has interest in talking about this right now. And it just came off as a really important, I'll say this, a learning experience for myself, right?
and hopefully a
Don't
learning
take every
experience
coffee
for them
meeting.
too.
Yeah, hopefully. He sent me a text, can I look at your bills? It's like, bro, like that's probably the most sensitive thing you can ask anyone. Let me copy some recommendations. Like, take a hint, man. If I ended the coffee meeting early and said I'm
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
maybe don't ask to look at my personal finances after that.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So that was one experience. I wanted to ask you here because I want to make sure we can wrap up within 20-25 more minutes here. Level up. When I saw a clip that you were giving at a previous networking event, I loved how succinct you made your level up networking events, the mission behind it. And I think you said something around the lines of people want to work with people they like, they want to work with people they trust. If you could just reiterate that or a portion of that, I think that was a really great way to consider a mission behind anything.
Yeah. Thank you so much for bringing that up. It was a great event. So Level Up Social Club was founded by myself and a few other business partners um, to help craft and curate professional um, professionals, like
Mhm.
professional minded individuals that are interested in connecting and building relationships and building out an inner circle. Um, so it's really it's B2B. Generally, we prefer 5+ years experience plus real estate, but it's not like I'm checking resumes at the door, right? So the whole purpose is to craft and create your own inner circle to find and connect with mutually beneficial relationships, right? So it's about finding that person that you vibe with, that you get with. It's more of that. It's more about that person's mindset than what they do. And then from there, you can start crafting and curating your inner circle, whether it's 5 to upwards of 15 individuals, right? And now these individuals can get together and have that relationship where they're saying, okay, who are you talking to? Who am I talking to? And how can we help each other out? Hey, maybe I run across a company and I've run across an issue that they have with their ERP system. They don't want to talk to me about HR. They gotta worry about an ERP system right now. And sometimes those things can take years to implement, right? Well, geez, who do I know in my network that sells that or can connect with them with somebody that does, right? And so maybe I found someone at Level Up to I was able to establish something with, right? So you're not going to walk into Level Up and come out with 5 individuals that you're going to constantly refer business to. The whole idea is you got to go there consistently.
Yeah.
We do no name tags because I want people to know, like, and trust one another. And I know it's super cliche, but you got to form your inner circle if you're going to level up in your professional life to be able to know, like, and trust somebody, to have zero doubt that I can put somebody in front of one of my clients. I have zero doubt, no matter what you're doing, Nick. Like, I have zero doubt I can put you in front of all my clients, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't feel that way with everybody, and that's okay. But I'm trying to build a circle of people that I do, and they feel comfortable with putting myself in front of their clients, right? So, and then also just have a little bit of fun in the process, right? So
Yeah.
no name tags. You got to get a feel for folks there. No, start establishing relationships. Be consistent. We hold it consistently the second Wednesday of every month at cool spots in the city. Next one is Wednesday, April 12th at Chalet at 228 West Chicago Avenue. You go there, it's 20 bucks at the door to walk in. You get first drink for free. It's chill. People are there to do business. And, I think a funny part about it was John Morris, who's a head of sales for executive director of brand management, runs the sales over at Club Colors. He also does a podcast called In the Club. He does a live podcast from there. He'll be doing it for most events moving forward. We live stream it. We chop it up into different videos, and you can come on, and if you're fortunate too, we'll be able to get you up there and speak to who you are, what you do, and get your brand out there. And for folks that are also nervous about going to networking events, maybe they really don't go to networking events, and they're not super comfortable doing that. There's a group of us. that we encourage you reach out to, including myself, to be able to help guide you through it. And the idea is to be a little bit more casual about it, because again, there's no name tags. Like just come there, maybe find a connection or two that you can feel like you can jive with. Maybe you set up a follow-up Zoom call or a coffee to get together. Um, and then just see them at the next event and keep going until finally it's like, okay, we could do something
Mhm.
together. So
Yeah.
I know that's a long-winded way
Mhm.
of my 30-second clip that you talked about, but that's what we wanted to do, right? We felt like something was missing out there. There wasn't that intentionality behind it. And that's why we founded Level Up Social Club.
Yeah, thank you, man. And I actually am glad you said it and expanded on it, because it's so refreshing to hear a business founder say and have such a mission statement and an intentionality behind the reason. For you, the coincidence is that the intention was intentionality for a networking event. You just said it, you go there to do business. People aren't just there to drink, $20 to get in the door and, see where the night goes. It's like, we're here for a reason. And I think that is missing, at least in the Chicago networking scene. Um, it's just really refreshing. And when you know and you like and you trust someone. When you were speaking, I was thinking about why those three words, right? You can know and trust someone, but if they're an asshole, like,
Yeah,
I'm not going to give them any
it's
money.
true.
And you can know and you can like someone, but if they have no credibility, you don't trust them. So it's like those three things are just essential for any business relationship. And I'm glad that you're building a space on a consistent manner every month, second Wednesday of the month, to curate that kind of atmosphere.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And
Yeah.
it's so true too. And it was just getting away from sort of that stiff, like I can join this group and pay this money and do that. Like I'm not knocking those groups, but at the same time, this is more of making it um, with intention behind it, but also having like having it be a little bit more casual and an ability to form your own group of people that you like. Because I'm not going to be forced into working with somebody just because like it makes sense because they sell insurance and I sell HR and we're naturally a match. Well, maybe I don't like that person too much. Like, what? I don't have to work with anybody I don't want to, and nobody's gonna do that, right? So like that's all what it comes down to. I mean, I have clients that, yeah, I mean, like the that I met. I in fact, I have one hopefully coming on board next month that I met through a Level Up event, and honestly, it was just over a few different times of meeting. I really liked them. I really jabbed what they were doing. I really liked the company. I started flipping some of my clients over to them, making some introductions because I saw something there. And yeah, I mean that's what it's all about. Just
Yeah.
making those connections and that's the beautiful thing about Chicago. I think Chicago's got a unique personality
Hmm.
in terms of business professionals, of people that are
Yeah.
really out there and really do want to grow their business, grow your brand. Um, and I also wanted to make it more casual for the novice networker that maybe has never gone to a networking event before.
Yeah. One of the things you said earlier in the call was about your favorite thing is connecting clients with other clients. Like, you get nothing out of that, right? But if you really are about it and you're real, like, it's like real, recognize real. That is what it's all about. I actually feel better. I get more out of it when I can show people that need a specific thing, someone in my network that I know, like, and trust. You see what I'm saying? There's a maximizer there, where then we
Yeah,
have three people that can know, like, and trust each other. Um, when I was looking for work the last couple of months, I'm the one that needs the job, right? But people that have jobs that come to me and say, I'm trying to get into, kind of in healthcare insurance, specifically annuities. I know someone that does exactly that. And so the hard thing actually isn't having that conversation when it comes. It's getting to know it's that person knowing who exactly is the best person in the space to talk to you about that. And I always say it's a little bit of work for me to send this intro email, and it creates a lot of value for both parties. So it's actually like and not to toot my own horn too much, but it's like
Yeah.
it's in my best interest just to send the damn 2 minute email. Write the message, send it. Doesn't have to be perfect. Typos, fuck it. Like send the email, help those two people connect, and then later, hopefully, it comes back to me. And what I found in my life, especially here in Chicago, is that a lot of people want to help me because I'm always looking to help others. And I think this is a really unique city for that reason. One of the things I sent you before, I was like, here's a sample question. What's the most unique thing about Chicago? I just got back from Miami. I've been to New York a bunch of times, LA, Seattle. It's just not the same as the people here. And it's just a great place to do business.
Yeah, I do. I just think it's got a certain type of personality that lends itself to, um, doing business with each other, but also enjoying each other's company. Because at the end of the day, like, and I talked about it on that clip too that you had mentioned, like life is too short. I don't want to spend it with people that I don't like, that I don't know, that I don't trust. Like it's a brutal existence. And honestly, I experienced that during a significant portion of my career. I don't ever want to do that again. It was just about smash and grabs. Get that client, book it, move on to the next one, never talk to them again. And that's a tough way to live. And then you start kind of just not really looking at people like they're real people. You're just looking at the deal, the money that you made. And it gets in a weird spot. And I think, especially after the pandemic, even with respect to this, like, kind of weird, like polarization of things politically, I actually think if you stop watching the news and just walk around, I think most people like each other, no matter like, who you voted for president. Like to me, in my opinion, um, I don't think that that's really the case as much as it is portrayed on the news. And I think that there's an opportunity to meet great people from all walks of life, especially in Chicago, where it's like, hey, there's a way that we can work together. And maybe if there's not, I know somebody that might be able to help you out. And as long as you're going in with kindness and intention and genuine curiosity, genuinely wanting to help people, I think that you'll be able to find your place and be able to make those connections at a group like Level Up and level up your career.
Yeah, man, for sure. I know I miss being downtown full time. I get down there probably twice a week. It's I'll bring my girlfriend to work on Monday and Friday, and it's kind of dead. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, different story. But like you said, walk around. I think that the news and just things now does polarize us. Kind of makes us think that everyone's out to get us, no matter what side we're on. And I think generally people, especially here, do have good intentions and want to help one another. So good to hear you kind of validate and confirm that too.
Absolutely.
Cool, man. Last question here. I ask everyone a specific question, kind of while we're on Chicago. What is your favorite or most memorable Cubs moment? I know you've been to a lot of games. I know it's in your family. Maybe if there's some folks listening that like the Cubs, curious if they would agree with what you choose.
Well, of course, you have to bring up the World Series, but I'll give you two moments because that's an easy one. But that first one is special to me, because it was with my dad. So I went. I've had season tickets for a number of years. I purchased them from I'm a shareholder of a group of season ticket holders, and a couple years out of college, I was going to all the games. I was living in the city. My dad was still in my childhood home, out in the northwest suburbs. So I was going to the majority of the games and starting to make some money. So he's like, all right, I mean, you're starting to make some money now. You're going all the games. I feel like this isn't very fair. So I agreed, and I just took over for him. But he would still participate, and we'd still go to the ticket draft together and do all that. But yeah, he was going to games since he was a kid. He grew up in this city. In the late 50s and early 60s, he would start taking the bus up when he was, 8, 9, 10 years old from Ukrainian Village all the way up to Wrigley. Um, he'd buy the cheap seats. Back then, the cheap seats were the bleachers. So you'd pay like a quarter or whatever it was, and you get into the game. And he spent his whole life rooting for the Cubs, so I of course followed him. And the chance to have those season tickets, be able to take him to Game 5, and then we were able to go with his good friend who runs the season ticket group for us. We were walking from Ashland towards the ballpark, picked him up because he lives like 2 blocks away from the ballpark, and they both like looked at each other, shook each other's hand when we were walking towards Game 5, and they were like, "Can you believe this? Like we're walking to the World Series game, at Wrigley Field." And so that was a special moment for me. And then obviously we won and went off to win Game 6 and Game 7 in Cleveland and won the World Series. But the other part was a few years ago, down 3, bottom of the 9th, 2 outs, 2 strikes on David Bodie. I was there, and he smashed one to right center and walk-off grand slam. And that was maybe like 2018 or something like that. I actually went. It was a Sunday. I go by myself a lot because if people don't want to go, I'm still dead set on going. I'm one of those guys.
Yeah, sure.
And to see that happen, and it was a day where I was like, well, no one's going, right? But I really wanted to go. I'm like, no, I'm going. And I got pretty decent seats. For one person, you get a good deal sometimes. And to have that moment, like that moment, and to work your whole life for that moment that I know that David Bodie has is pretty cool for me to see as a salesperson, just because like it all comes out in that moment. And outside of the World Series, that was the loudest. And I go to 30 games a year. I've been going to games since I was 7 years old. I'm talking 30 plus years. I go to Wrigley games. Like I've never heard it that loud as it was in that moment. And that thing was gone. I mean, you knew it was gone. So that was my favorite moment. And what keeps bringing me back to the ballpark 30 plus times a year is to be able to see moments like that and special moments in time like that. Because those memories last a lifetime. So
Yeah. When you said walk off grand slam, I kind of got the hair on my arm stuck up because I know what that must feel like to be there. And man, what an awesome moment. And that place gets rowdy and loud, especially Sunday games. It's a weekend, summer, people are loving it. I was lucky to see a Monday night game, and this is maybe a year and a half ago, and they weren't very good, but it wasn't a grand slam walk off, but they won in the final inning. And it was so cool to be there for that. So I know what you mean, man.
yeah, I'll send you the clip.
Cool. Love it. I saw a marquee sports network video, just like, a history of the Cubs kind of. And I was watching it with Carla, and they talked about Steve Bartman and that. And even just some of I couldn't believe just how dedicated people are to that franchise, That's not a favorite moment, I'm sure, for you, but it's an iconic one nevertheless.
Yeah
Tough one, but I'm glad we won. I know I remember exactly where I was when they were in Cleveland and Rizzo caught the ball on first base to win. It was a cool moment. Went straight to Wrigley, literally got on the red line, beelined it to the Addison stop. Me and my friends were just going crazy, man. So it was an awesome night here in Chicago.
Yeah, we're gonna see it again, Nick. I guarantee it.
Cool. All right, man. Let you get back to your workday. Appreciate you sharing more about what keeps you going, and tell the folks that are listening exactly where and when the event is for April, and hopefully some folks will come out.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Wednesday, April 12th at Chalet, which is located at 228 West Chicago Avenue, Level Up Social Club. You can actually go to levelupsocialclub.com to check out our website, and then there's a link to the Eventbrite to register right there. And then our next event after that is Wednesday, May 10th at Kennedy Rooftop. Both events are up on Eventbrite, so if you can't make the next one, we'd love to have you in May.
Cool. All right. Thanks a lot. Talk to you soon. Let me chop up this video. I'll get you some edits, and we'll get it up tomorrow. Sound good?
All right. Sounds good. Thanks.